from English Language Education Department 2019. We are going to
present our video.
Yay!
So, do you know what language you are talking right now?
No. English, right?
Yes, it's true. It's English. English is an international language that most countries and people know this language.
Oh.
But do you know about this? About the language? About its root?
No.
Are you curious?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Now we will tell you about the history of English. So stay tuned!
So we will start from Norman Conquest, the event that began the transition from Old English to Middle English was the Norman Conquest of 1066. When William the Conqueror invaded the island of Britain from his home base in northern France and settled in his new acquisition along with his noblesse and court, William cursed the opposition with a brutal hand and deprived the Anglo-Saxon earls of their property, distributing it to Normans who supported him. And then French or Anglo-Norman influenced the Normans bequeathed over 10,000 words to English, including a huge number of abstract nouns ending in the suffix such as age and age, and then starting with the prefix such as trans and pre. And then, the last but not least, Middle English after the Normans. The and plural noun ending of Old English such as house, hosen, shoe, Susan, had largely disappeared by the end of the Middle English period, replaced by the French plural ending s. The n ending only remains today in one or two important examples, such as children, brethren, and oxen.
Many languages have undergone vowel shifts, but the major changes of the English vowel shift occurred within the relatively short space of a century or two, quite a sudden and dramatic shift in linguistic terms. It was largely during this short period of time that English lost the purer vowel sounds of most European languages, as well as the phonetic varying between long and short vowel sounds. In Middle English, for instance, in the time of Chaucer, the long vowels were generally pronounced very much like Latin-derived Romance languages of Europe. Example: sheep would have been pronounced more like shape, me as may, mine as min. English Renaissance. The next wave of innovation in English vocabulary came with the revival of classical scholarship known as the Renaissance. Latin-based adjectives were introduced to plug lexical gaps, where no adjective was available for an existing Germanic noun. Example: marine for sea, pedestrian for walk. Or where an existing adjective had acquired unfortunate connotations. Example: equine or equestrian for horsey, aquatic for watery. Or merely as an additional synonym. Example: masculine and feminine in addition to manly and womanly, paternal in addition to fatherly, etc.
The Bible. Two particularly influential milestones in English literature were published in the 16th and early 17th century. In 1549, the Book of Common Prayer was introduced into English churches, followed in 1611 by the Authorized or King James Version of the Bible, the culmination of more than 2 centuries of efforts to produce a Bible in the native language of the people of England. International trade. While all these important developments were underway, British naval superiority was absorbed from the languages of many other countries throughout the world, including those of other trading and imperial nations such as Spain, Portugal, and the Netherlands. Among these were French, for example, progress, passport. Italian, for example, umbrella, opera. Spanish, for example, Cork, Canibal. Portuguese, for example, breeze, tank. German, for example, Noodle, seminar. Dutch, for example, skipper, landscape. Japanese, for example, karate, samurai.
Late Modern English, American dialect. Today, some 40,000 words are used differently in the USA and Britain, like lift and elevator, bath and tub, biscuit and cookie. There are just some of the better known ones. American spelling is also becoming more commonplace in Britain. Example, jail for goal, reflection with city, and reflection with X, etc. Although some Americanized spelling changes actually go back centuries. Example, words like horror, terror, superior, emperor, and governor were originally spelled as horror with U, terror with U, superior with U, emperor and governor with U in Britain according to Johnson's 1755 dictionary. Present day. The language continues to change and develop and to grow apace, expanding to incorporate new jargons, slangs, technologies, toys, foods, and gadgets. In recent years, there has been an increasing trend towards using existing words as a different part of speech, especially the verbification of nouns. Example, the word verbify is itself a prime example. Others include to thumb, to parrot, to email, to text, to Google, to medal, to critique, to interface, etc. Although some modern sounding verbs have surprisingly been in the language for centuries. Example, to order, to impact, to message, to parent, to channel, etc. Nounification also occurs particularly in business contexts. Example, an ask, a build, a solve, a fail, etc.
Largely as a result of the vagaries of its historical development, modern English is a maddeningly difficult language to spell correctly. The infant thread borrowing from another languages combined with shifts in pronunciation and well-meaning reforms in orthography have resulted in a language seemingly at odds with itself. While Old English was about 90% phonemic, modern English is probably closer to 40% phonemic. There are a large number of possible spelling rules and a large number of expectations to those rules, and the language continues to confound both native speakers and foreigners alike. Today, English is the second or third most popular mother tongue in the world, with an estimated 400 million native speakers. But crucially, it is also the common tongue for many non-English speakers in another country. It should be noted here that statistics on the numbers around the world who speak English are unreliable. It is notoriously difficult to define quite what is meant by English speaker. English is the native mother tongue of only Britain, Ireland, USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and a handful of Caribbean countries. But in 57 countries, including Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, India, and Singapore, and etc., English is either as its official language or a majority speak it as a first language. There are largely ex-colonial countries which have truly integrated English into its chief institutions. Today, American English is particularly influential due to USA dominance of cinema, television, popular music, trade, and technology, including the internet. But there are many other varieties of English around the world, including, for example, Australian English, New Zealand English, Canadian English, and Singaporean English.
Okay guys, that's all about the history of English. Thank you for watching and bye!